Harrigan, Webster, Craig Clark, Bruce Clark in the front row, Fowler and Lee Beater. They're coached by Ken Gentle. The Penrith side, here it is for you now. Lobb, Horton, Gonzalez, Izzard, Robinson, Trudgett, Alexander, Fenton, Lee, Goodwin, Zvanovic, Simmons and Gerard, and the coach there, Tim Sheens. Chris Ward is the referee. And the kick-off from Western Suburbs, deep to Alexander, and an immediate reply from Brad Izzard, who's wearing extravagant taping to keep his boots on, one would think. I'm pretty positive it's not ankle supports that he's wearing, but it'd be a very good trick to take one of his boots off, that's for sure. Alexander now involved in a kicking duel with Duval, the Western Suburbs winger. Izzard taking it, spreading it. That was something similar to what Balmain did on Sunday, and here's Penrith losing possession. And the referee has ordered a knock on, and he's putting a scrum down. Midway between the 22 and halfway.
Western Suburbs there were able to put Penrith off their game. Penrith, from their tactics, it was obvious that they'd been instructed to kick the ball early in the tackle count. They kicked virtually from the kick off. On the return kick, they kicked it again, and when Western Suburbs fired another kick back, they elected to run the ball and came up with a fumble, and now West have got the ball and putting pressure on about 30 metres out.
This is Harrigan. Alexander. Lee. Zvanovic. Alexander. Torpedo punt down to MacArthur, who came into the side late to replace Leo Epifania, who was the man of the match in the Western Suburbs win in the first round. They defeated Auckland on that night. Ball played by Pearce now. Penrith had their victory over Parramatta, you might recall, at Carrington Park Bathurst. That was the first of two big wins for Penrith in the same week over Parramatta and Manly. And then the wheels fell off, indicating that the Panthers may have been reading the papers and believing it. But I think Tim Sheens has bludgeoned them almost out of that belief. They came back with a very strong win last weekend against Canberra, and West put in their best performance last weekend, ironically, against St George. Beaten, but not disgraced. This man is Horton, losing his footing, and he'll play at about 12 metres on his side of the halfway. Very important match, this one. Of course, to win this would take the side into the quarterfinals, where they'd have a shot at, or should I say, take them to the semi-finals, where they'd have a shot at $25,000 to win that semi and a $10,000 loss. So, just boiling all that down into simple language, tonight to win means you've guaranteed your club of $10,000 at least. A loss in this match is a $5,000 check. Alexander switching the point of the attack neatly across to Trudgett. Trudgett got through a high tackle. Clutching high. Alexander. This is Neil. Just going through our prize money again. I may have confused you because I obviously didn't relay the information correctly, but the winner of this match automatically takes out $20,000. The losers would take $5,000 away, added to, of course, what they've already accrued from the first round, which was $8,000. So there's quite a bit of money at stake here. $20,000 pot to the winner of this match. And the kick by Duval, rather embarrassing. It went backwards, if anything. And the tap will be taken by Fowler, just on his own side of the halfway, through to Clark and on to Neil, and then a little rehearsed play from Western Suburbs. You see Harrigan go to ground with it. West's 5/8 tonight is Gary Warneke, very talented player, very tough player. Gary, of course, in the 6 jumper is better remembered probably for his Eastern Suburbs exploits. This is Fowler getting some free space there in behind the play the ball. Neil. Webster's pass to ground and Pearce unable to take it, so the referee will put a scrum down about 15 metres into Panther territory. That was Gary Webster, himself a former Tiger, trying to get that pass away to his winger. Penalty to Penrith. Alexander now is the line finder, and the tap will be taken about 10 metres into West's territory. Chris Houghton taking it straight to Alexander, then to Gerard, a cut-out pass, picking up a second forward, Matt Goodwin. Gerard. And now back for Alexander, across to Fenton, then to Izzard. They've stacked the blind side and they've hit it nicely. This is Horton. Fenton. Gerard. It's an awful pass to give a front row forward, but Gerard took it well, then had to take the tackle. And this is the last coming up for the Panthers. Alexander's the player to watch. That's him with the ball. Up goes the bomb. It's high. Goodwin is giving chase. MacArthur's under it. Takes it well, and then he takes a very solid tackle from Goodwin. Magnificent take by the Little Western Suburbs fullback. And watch this second rower drive him with the shoulder. Legitimate stuff. Good tackle by Goodwin, but MacArthur gets full marks for his stand under extreme pressure.
But no doubt he'll remember the Matt Goodwin tackle next time the bomb's put up and he sees the number 10 boring down on him.
Would have been nice to see a couple of black and white jumpers just giving him a little bit of cover.
Yeah, it's something we've stressed many times this year, and it's apparently a forgotten art that you go back and you support your fullback when the kick's put up. Too many fullbacks are being left on their own and teams are suffering the consequences.
Here's Goodwin, 10 metres out from the Western Suburbs line, so it's really the first test for either side here now, and Gerard is tackled with the line about 7 metres in front of him. Very keen-looking Penrith side as Alexander tries to do it himself. He's brought down 2 metres out. Simmons has fallen into first pivot. That's him. There goes the kick from Simmons. It's a good little kick too. They fly for it. This will be, forced by Western Suburbs. I was looking at Simmons. He was following it through, and he looked like he's going to be able to touch down, but a Magpie got underneath him. Fella. Duval's drop kick is a pretty big one. Standing up for Horton. Backslammed by Webster. Zivanovic, veteran in this Penrith side. Gerard. When I say that, I'm not suggesting that Lou is an old customer, but heavens above, he's been with Penrith for a long time. Little kick by Fenton is a nice looker. Robinson's chasing, so is Houghton. It's taken in by Pearce. There's a lot of variation in this Penrith attack, a lot to like about it. Neil.
Many times in the past we've stressed that Penrith are a good side to watch because they're prepared to try things, and two of their better players, Izzard and Alexander, have got tremendous flair and variation in their game, and they're the sort of players that could cause West problems if they don't move up on them quickly and nullify any room they'd have to move in.
A kick downfield from Western Suburbs, taken in by Gonzalez. And, Gonzalez, he's flirting with danger on that sideline. Scoreline, 0-0 between West and Penrith. So this will be a penalty, I would think. It may just be a caution. Yes, a penalty for a late tackle. Alexander finding the line, 32 metres out from the Western Suburbs try line. Tap taken by Royce Simmons and Brandon Lee. To play it just outside the 22. Trudger, a cut-out pass to Goodwin, then to Izzard. Izzard made to step his way through. Trudger. Gonzalez. Zvanovic. About 9 minutes of the first quarter to go, and a penalty to Penrith against West for stealing the ball. And this should be very easy for Greg Alexander. Right in front, 18 metres out. A little breeze blowing as Tim Sheens watches his halfback Alexander take the penalty attempt. It's successful, and so Penrith leading Western Suburbs by 2 points. Talking of veterans with various clubs, I was talking of Lou Zvanovic. Here's a young man who's proven to be a great ambassador for rugby league, and certainly a stalwart of the Western Suburbs club. Graeme Hughes is with Warren Boland.
Warren West's best premiership form for some time last Sunday.
Yes, Graeme, it was a much better performance. Still room for improvement, but a much better performance. The defence was committed for, throughout the game.
How do you see it, a nice match?
Well, they've started off very well, and here we go again.
That's exactly right, Warren, with Duval taking it down to the 32-metre line. Across to Warnocky. West with a player down injured. Cogger. Wigham trying to get his pass inside, but unsuccessful. Now it's with Neil. The Magpies throwing it on. Into an opening goes Warnocky. Can he find a runner? He cannot. And Penrith come up with the ball through Brad Izzard, but he's into touch. It'll be a scrum as we take you back to Graeme with Warren Boland.
Thanks, Ryan. That's, of course, the first time they've seen the ball, really.
Yeah, well, I think both teams are playing well at this stage of the game. I think if it continues like this, it's going to be a top game of football.
Do you think the quarter football really does suit them tonight?
Wests or Penrith?
Western Suburbs.
Well, no, I think
everybody really is going for Penrith victory.
Yeah, I know Penrith are out there as favourites, but well, I suppose if you're looking at any team's going to win by a smaller score playing 20-minute football, but I reckon the way West are playing, they're going to be right in this game.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Grant.
Here we are with Western Suburbs on the attack, and they're really making the ball do the work for Magpies, and a couple of times they've had Penrith shot to pieces. Ball played there by Harrigan. This is Clark bumping it up to the 10-metre line.
What they're doing very well, Ray, is the second and third receiver is running flat out when he gets the ball. They're not dilly-dallying 2 and 3 out. They're hitting the ball and hitting it hard, and that's making the Penrith players fall off tackles on the fringe.
And here's Warnocky, the man that's really causing the most problems. Izzard again cleans it up for Penrith. Warnocky, he didn't hit that ball as strongly as he wanted to. It almost fell off his boot, but he's a classic player, this fellow, Warnocky. He can do anything. Throwing giant-sized dummies. You see this kick? He didn't quite get it. And I'm going to tell you, had he have connected the way he would like, then it would have been a try for mine. Penrith now just slowing it down to their breath back a little bit. Duval back on his feet, not 100%, but at least he's on his feet. Warnicki's now receiving attention for Wests. Brandon Lee puts down a big kick to MacArthur's knocked on.
They're the sorts of mistakes that Western Suburbs can't afford. It was a drop ball under no pressure whatsoever. I suppose we could use the excuse of the lights, but for a first-grade fullback, that's just not good enough.
So the Sixers go down. And it's come away to the black and whites, and Neil is tackled about 5 metres on his side of the halfway. This is Clark. Craig Clark. Fella. 2-0 to the Panthers. And a penalty to West against Goodwin. The referee has obviously seen something in that tackle that we didn't. He's indicating that Goodwin gave the head a bit too much treatment after the tackle had been made. And here's the chance for the leveller for Duval. He's directly in front, but he's 40 metres out. Beautiful day in Sydney and a beautiful night. Little breeze, as I said. $20,000 to the winner of this one, being a quarter-final. The kick by Duval, it's getting a little bit away, it's just wide. Coming back with it is Ben Gonzalez. Still 2-0.
And Duval committed the cardinal sin there for a goal kicking. He took a long-range shot for goal that he was unable to put dead.
Good one. Lee. He's a handy fellow to have on your side by the look of him. Second rower with a boot on him as big as Graeme Wynn. West again making a mistake. Towed ahead by Robinson. Picked up by Pearce. Away from Trudgett. Picked up by Robinson and Gonzalez. Penalty to West. Against the markers, not standing behind one another. Sunday, of course, we've got one of the biggest matches of the year. I guess I'm right in saying that most people, if they were asked to predict the grand finalists earlier in this year, the greatest number of votes would have gone for a Canterbury St George grand final. And that's the match we've got for you. The Bulldogs and the Saints on Sunday at 6 o'clock. But what a magnificent weekend of league. He's sat down as a penalty goes to West. He's got them for stealing the ball. Manly Balmain. How can one deny that it's almost on an equal rating with the match of the day? And the Penrith Parramatta match, it looms as a nice match too.
Sometimes either a feast or a famine, isn't it?
Well, that's true, Bill. Out to Clark and away to Neil and now to Warnicki, and a dummy round the corner picked up by Craig Clark. It nearly worked, but I'm tremendously impressed with Gary Warnicki.
I'm impressed with Western Suburbs tonight. We haven't seen much of them. They've hit a flat spot in the last couple of years in the competition proper, but they're out there tonight and they're trying things, and that can only be good for them.
Neil. Up goes the bomb. They all looked onside to me. Pearce is through, so is Fowler. Penrith have got it. And they'll take it away now. Here's the replay of the bomb. Brett Lobb under pressure, but he took it well. West coming back with the ball. 6 more tackles, says the referee. It was struck 4 in the play. The ball across and out to Wayne Wigan. It's gone to Pearce. Pearce looks for the corner. He flicks the ball back inside. That's a rather dangerous play. Sometimes you're far better off taking it to bed with you, killing it, taking it over the touchline. Very dangerous piece of football, that. As the siren sounds, Penrith lead the Magpies by 2-0, but by Jove, I tell you what, they played well in the first 20 minutes. Here's a break. 2-0 in favour of the Panthers over the Magpies. There's the scrums and penalties. 3-0 the scrums to the west side, and 4-3 the penalties to them. And I don't think anybody would disagree that the first 20 minutes belonged to Western Suburbs.
But as is often the case, you don't register points when things are running against you, and Ken Gent will be concerned about that his side had the better of the run of play, but they weren't able to put points on the board, and Penrith leading 2-0, and no doubt they'll be trying to put further points on the board in this second half to come home strongly later in the match.
Fenton. Gerard. I was just looking at the West fullback. He's already got his winger back with him. They're both standing very, very deep.
But it's not good play, Ray, because it gives you 2 players out of the line, and you're short in the defensive line. I think that they'd be far better to play flatter and leave their winger on the end of the defensive line until later in the tackle count.
Yes, he went back after the first tackle, Duval. Because McCarthy.
You'll very often find, for wingers in particular, no one will cover for them. All they'll do is leave the opposite winger exposed.
Clark. Cogger. Warnocky. Just a little bit of a switch up in positional play there. Cogger fell into 5/8 and Warnocky went out to inside. The kick ahead by Michael Neal is going to beat Ben Gonzalez, and that's going to put a scrum down 10 metres away from the Penrith line. The national Panasonic replay of Michael Neal, the brother of Alan. What's he doing these days, by the way? Is he running around lower grade St George?
He certainly is, and he'd be a nice player for someone like Roy Masters to have up his sleeve, because it's a long grind in first grade these days, and you need as many good players in the reserve grade virtually as you've got in your first grade.
Across the ground goes Gonzalez. In fact, he's losing ground, and he's driven in front of his own uprights by a good tackle from Warnocky. Lee. He's done a few nice things already in this match, Brandon Lee. He's got this big right foot, but he runs the ball very strongly. He doesn't slow down when he comes to the defence line. 5 tackles gone. Here's the kick for Alexander. Little chip. It was always there for them if they wanted to utilise it, and that required some urgent play by Harrigan to get back and cover. Duval tackled, and it was touched by a Magpie. Well, he's ruled a knock on, but for mine, Fowler was offside a mile. And here's the replay of it. Watch Fowler. He gives himself up. He almost calls for a set of handcuffs. Well, of course, it came on the next play, the incident that we're talking about. Penalty goes to West.
Penalty against Mr. Alexander. Feeding the second ball, right in the second lane. Never even hesitated to go in the centre. Run it right in the middle.
West's losing their front rower and captain Terry Leabeater at the moment. He's being assisted from the field. Or Webster, I should say. Did I say Leabeater? Yes, Webster's coming off. He's locked up in a calf muscle by the look of him. He's just absolutely cramped up completely. Steve Mullen is going on, formerly with the Canterbury side, and I think he was an Australian schoolboy.
You're right on, Ray, and he's a very good player, Mullen. He's built low to the ground. He's hard to pull down in tackles, and he's got a good work rate in defence, and he won't let the Magpies down.
This is Leabeater. Clark getting a pass around the corner for Mullen.
And that's the sort of play that we saw Clark use against Auckland. And if he supports giving the sort of backup that he deserves, he can be made look very good.
This is MacArthur back inside to Neil. Neil tackled on the 22. 5 tackles gone for the Magpies, and Warnicki will bomb it here. Not a bad kick. It got across the ground. Gonzalez takes it in comfortably, and Duval is there to bring him down with Wayne Wigan. Lobb, who's in the side these days at the expense of Mark Levy. Mark sitting on the bench tonight. Here's Fenton. Here's Levy, the man I'm talking about. Next to him, Ken Wolfe. They were both in the side. Not beaten, but almost humiliated by Balmain in a match we telecast earlier this year. That's when Tim Sheens pulled out the axe. Lee was the man who kicked that ball. He's found touch too. Let's get a report on the injury to Gary Webster from Graeme Hughes.
Yes, that's a shame, Ray. He was certainly playing well for West. He's badly torn, so the doctor informs me, his calf muscle.
Just the 2 points scored off the boot of Alexander. Penrith leading 2-0. Here's MacArthur. This is Pearce in from the left wing to make the extra man. Penrith taking their time in their tackles. They're not getting off a man quickly. And
you know, West could be probably fighting a little harder too to get up and play the ball more quickly. It's easy to submit when someone's laying on top of you, but you're not going to get a penalty from the referee if you're not making the effort. That's more like it.
And there's the penalty. Well, I thought for a moment he put his arm up the wrong way, but he was giving the indication. Penalty to West, and Lawson is getting ready to come on for the Magpies too. Duval takes the line finder. And the tap just on the Penrith side of halfway. Now that pass was ridiculous. They took the tap and they threw the ball forward to the first runner. Duval coming off for West. Well, that's just not first-grade football. I mean, if the bloke's in front of you, you don't give it to him. Not on the first tackle.
And they're the things, really, that are the differences between winning and losing. They're the lead-ups to what causes tries and so on in 5 and 6 minutes' time.
Trudgett. Well, Graeme Hughes, you would have been sitting, I would think, immediately adjacent to that rather stupid passage of football.
Well, it was stupid, Ray, but Mark Lawson, in fact, threw the ball into the hooker to pull off the tap move. It's a very important time now for Western Suburbs because they've just made 2 replacements, an important one in Gary Webster, who I mentioned was playing very, very well. They've had all the ball this second quarter and all the penalties, and now the pressure comes. They've got to turn around now and defend.
Alexander talking to his captain, and he's going to take the shot at goal.
Of course, this is exactly what we were talking about. Western Suburbs now should have the ball, belting it downfield well in the Penrith half. Instead of that, they made the mistake from the tap, and now Penrith have got the ball and they've got an opportunity to register 2 points.
Penrith runners wired for sound. Heavens above, it's become technical, this business of coaching, hasn't it?
The reason for that is Tim Sheen sits high in the stand to get a better overview of what's happening in the game, and any messages he wants to impart to his players he can relay through that runner.
There's the kick by Alexander, and he's failed to make it, and MacArthur brings it back into the field of play. Scoreline remaining 2-0 to the Panthers. Yes, that might be very true. That subject we were talking about earlier about trainers going on to deliver messages from the coaches, but somewhere back in the archives of rugby league, I thought they were supposed to be out there to treat injured players.
Don't be so naive.
I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to be facetious. Wests with the ball on their own quarter. Neil. Cogger's kick is going to find touch, and a scrum will go down midway, 22 halfway. 2-0 still for Penrith. Penrith's half Alexander to feed the scrum. Scrum has collapsed. Both sets of front rowers are on their heads at the moment. The penalty goes to Wests.
I suppose you'd have to say, Ray, that this game gets minor billing tonight in contrast to the Balmain-Brisbane game, but it's given value for money, this one. It's a good game.
Here's Wigham, go inside some. He does, Lawson, but too late. And Wigham is taken into touch by Gonzalez.
It's very, very important for wingers and outside centres to learn the art of sitting down in a tackle. It was obvious then that Wigham was going to be forced over the sideline if he fought, but he still tried to fight in that tackle. He had to virtually, as soon as the defence hit him, he had to sit down.
Trudgett, lob. Can he pass? No, he can't. Leichhardt was on his outside and running free. Now it's Gonzalez. There's no doubt in my mind Penrith have to use the skills of Alexander and Leichhardt, and that includes Trudgett and Robinson. They're talented players.
I think Greg Alexander, no doubt, is a very talented player, but I think he can improve his play if he varies his timing of passing a little more. What he's doing at the moment is he takes the first pass off the ruck and unloads, or he runs on his own. I think what he's got to do is get more variation in his game by, on occasions, taking the ball towards the defensive line and then popping up a pass, or even sometimes standing in a tackle and offloading a pass.
That's Alexander bombing in midfield, and there's pressure here for Wests, but the referee will rule that it went forward off a Penrith player. And it's a scrum on the West 22. Here it was on the national Panasonic replay. No doubts that it came off Matt Goodwin, forward for his own. Wests coming up with the scrum, and they're doing quite nicely in the scrums.
They started off badly. They were down 3-0 at one stage, but they've hit right back in the scrummaging situation now, and I think that's 5-3 in their favour after being down 3-0, Ray, so they won 5 in a row.
Clark. Cogger. That might be too big. It is. So back now for a scrum, which Alexander will feed. And he's got the loose head. Alexander to the open side, and then he passes, and it's with Wests. 6 more, struck 4 in the play the ball. MacArthur plays it. Clark runs with it. That sloppy defence from Penrith. It's gone away to Neil. Across the ground, away from Zivanovic. Lawson going infield now. Taken by Zivanovic.
There's some good fast play the balls by Western Suburbs, which enabled them to get a roll on and pinch 20 metres on Penrith, and it also has given them this penalty. So, you know, fast play the balls really are the secret to good attack.
Zivanovic penalised for obstructing the Western Suburbs attack. Across to Clark and now to Neil. And Neil deciding to have a go on his own, but tackled by Gerrard and Goodwin. This is John MacArthur. Now Cogger. Cogger looks around. MacArthur backs up. That's good staying alive by MacArthur. Neil backs him up too. Good support work by the Magpies all round. They're 20 metres out. Fella gets a pass away. It came down into the arms of MacArthur, and MacArthur plays it. Still 20 metres out from the Penrith line. A bad pass taken by Cogger. Given now to Mullen. Mullen's looking for support, and he's tackled 12 metres out from the Penrith line. Can the Magpies score here? Clark goes up, takes them on, reaches the 10-metre line. 5 tackles gone, so they'll be probably putting it up this time. It's with the red-headed Neil. He decides to pass and picks up Harrigan, and oh, that was a great tackle by Gerrard. Harrigan was running very strongly, and Gerrard hit him with a shoulder, and has he sickened him.
It was a tremendous tackle, and it had to be, because had Harrigan been hit in a soft tackle, he'd have had enough time to sit the ball up with the supports who were running off him, and it could have resulted in a try. But Gerrard hit him with the shoulder and jolted the ball loose.
Simmons.
So that was a case in point about the play the ball. Simmons was looking for a penalty, but he didn't do anything about it. Had he fought in the tackle and made it obvious that he was being held down, he would have got the penalty.
Izzard. Very big kick by Izzard. John MacArthur comes back with it. Lawson.
Not having any troubles, Ray, are they, making yardage against Penrith? And you know, Penrith are a good side, and they've prided themselves over the last couple of seasons on their improved defence, but Wests are looking quite good.
Warneke, Cogger, Clark. He's drilled a knock on, so it's a scrum, 8 metres on the west side of halfway. Two and a half minutes. 2.5 minutes from the break. Matt Goodwin topping the Penrith tackle count at the moment on 17. Terry Leadbeater 15 for the Magpies, as Trudgett almost had his hands free, and there would have been great troubles there for West. Here's Brett Lobb, held by Wayne Wigham. Dummy half is Alexander. He may go for a squirt out of dummy half himself. He loves to wait for a side to find themselves other than organised, and that's when he becomes almost lethal, this fellow Alexander. Here he is with the ball, giving it to Zavanovic. Simmons across. Izzard bumping off a would-be tackle, but then taken and smothered by another. The last tackle in Penrith with Alexander still alive as Alexander. The pass backwards to Izzard to the second row forward Lee, and it's taken by Wigham, so it's the first tackle for West now. Back on their own line. Almost certainly it'll be a scoreless second quarter. Steve Mullen in number 15 for Wests. Leadbeater. Clark. Clark was working for a penalty there, making out that Roy Simmons had hold of him. He's lucky he didn't get penalised himself, to be honest with you. Simmons was lying there with his arms out, his legs out, looking like he was having a Sunday afternoon sunbathe. And Clark was trying to imitate a person being held down by his tackler.
He wouldn't have won an Oscar.
No, he would not have, but he nearly earned a penalty, let me tell you. Trudgett to play it. Simmons, Zavanovic. West defence around the play the ball. in my opinion, has been far superior to that of Penrith. Alexander, now to Lee and across to Fenton. Fenton beautifully tackled by Mark Harrigan. He's a good little player, this fellow, Harrigan. That kick is far too deep to cause any concern to West. MacArthur brings it out. And he's brought down by Gonzalez. The siren is seconds away. And a penalty goes to West in the centre of the ground. This is Neil. Warnocky kicks. It's going down to a cluster of Penrith players. And Brett Lobb draws the first of them, turns it into Gonzalez. Gonzalez in and away, and then turning it into Izzard. Izzard to the 22 line, and my goodness, they nearly turned nothing into something, didn't they? 2-0 in favour of Penrith. What do you think, Graeme Hughes?
Well, Ray, call them unfashionable, call them the underdogs, call them what you like. Western Suburbs are just showing that with sheer courage and enthusiasm, that is quite often more than just a match for sheer natural ability. Look for them in the second half, if they can continue with that same enthusiasm, to take out this match.
2-0 in favour of the Panthers. Quite an incredible scoreline, really, because I think even the most ardent Penrith supporters, and I was talking to some of them in the courtesy lounge, the National Panasonic courtesy lounge, and they too were quite happy to be in front the way they're playing. They're not playing badly, but West, I do think, have been playing the better.
Surprising that neither side scored a try, because they've both made plenty of breaks, and I think it's the enthusiasm to get across and cover in defence because of the rewards that are at stake in this game, which has been the only thing that's stopped there being at least 2 or 3 tries.
Brett Lobb taking it back now for the Penrith side. Houghton. Good tackle. Very good tackle on the big man. Mullen was one and Craig Clark was the other. This is Gerard. Alexander. Trudgett. Alexander. Ooh. West coming up with the football. Wayne Wigham plays it to Neil. Now Mullen. Neil again. Well, he needed a runner. That's all he needed. And Penrith were going to be opened right up. Here's Clark, ridden into the ground by Fenton. Harrigan. This is Warnocky. West are just a little bit late in arriving. Players are getting into the gap, standing in the tackle. And a penalty goes to West. Michael Neal. A late tackle on him. You'll see it again on this replay quite vividly. And it's a penalty for the Magpies just off centre, 25 metres out. You'll see it again here. Very fine line for the referee to work on in deciding if a tackle was late. It's very hard to assess whether
to the Western side of the player after he kicked the ball.
Yes, well, there's the explanation by the referee, Chris Ward. But when a player sets himself to hit a moving object, it's very hard for that player to pull himself out of it. And that's the decision that the referee has to make, and it's a hard one, a tough one for him too. But now it's Pearce who's been brought on to kick. Duval left us and was replaced by Lawson during the first half. Gary Pearce, 25 out, orthodox kicker of the ball. They're fairly rare these days. And he hits it, it stays low, but he's got the 2 points. That's the equaliser. the Magpies and the Panthers. 2-2 in the first quarter-final of the National Panasonic. And the bird, for the first time this season, has some real reason to show off its feathers. Don't get your wings in a knot there. Lob to restart it. Taken by Clark. Lebeater. Neal. Clark. Oh, good ball. Wiggum. Warnocky now. Can he pop it? It's loose on the ground and it'll be play on. No, he's ruled that it went forward. That's pretty tough for Wests. This was Wiggum running off a Bruce Clark pass, and then Wiggum, Warnocky was tackled and it was ruled as going forward. Alexander to Trudgett. Something has to give here shortly, that's for sure. Lee.
I think really that Penrith are very often playing into Western Suburbs' hands. Their half-back Alexander, their 5'8" Trudgett and their centre Izzard are their best attacking forces, and yet to my mind I can't really remember Izzard getting much of the ball tonight in good situations, and I think he's either got to go looking for it back in closer to the rucks, or he's got to call for faster service from his inside backs and dummy half.
I think Graeme Hughes feels pretty much the same.
Yes, I do, Ray. Western Suburbs have bustled Penrith at the moment. They're getting a little bit frustrated and they're trying to send the ball out wide, but too often when that ball does come out wide and quickly like that, as Bill said, Izzard's not getting the ball in the right situations. The Penrith forwards have got to stick to their original game plan. Take it up for the first 2 or 3 tackles and try and draw Western Suburbs in, and then set up the likes of Izzard and Alexander out wide.
Clark. Round the corner pass from MacArthur. He's lost it. It'll be another scrum, so there's been quite a few interruptions to the opening minutes of this third quarter. Trudgett, the fullback in, running decoy, out to Robinson, back to Trudgett. The pass was almost forward. Trudgett gets a pass to Izzard. The big centre is tackled 32 metres out. And this could be a penalty. No, he says play on. Alexander sweeps it blindside for Robinson, and then it's gone to Gonzalez and back to Alexander. Here's trouble. Izzard running into a gap, looking for support. Oh, very close for Robinson. West have it.
We've got an example there of the sorts of damage that can be done by Penrith when they get the ball out wide to players such as Alexander and Izzard.
This was Izzard shrugging them off, turning. Robinson, he barely got a touch of the ball before being tackled. It's out with Lob now. Penrith starting to pile it on. They've got their foot pretty close to flat. Trudgett. Simmons. Zavanovic. This will be a penalty to the Magpies. No question about it. Here's the head-on camera. It'll show you exactly what happened as Zavanovic is given obstruction by Goodwin. Pearce finding the line safely just inside the quarter. Gary Howell in 15 jumper is getting ready on the sidelines for Penrith. Tim Sheens would be saying to himself about now, I need somebody to bust them. And that's exactly what Gary Howell is. He's what you would call a bust man. So Sheens has had enough. He said, I'm going to bring off a defence man and I'm going to replace him with somebody who can crack a defensive line wide open, and Gary Howell is just that player.
Well, it's probably too early to be thinking about a...
Oh! Clark again with a good ball for Harrigan. Oh, the little fellow is going to score.
Loser Clark, Bobby Dazzler. See it again. Gerard went for a half-shoulder charge, half-tackle, and then Clark gave it to Harrigan, and Harrigan gave Penrith an absolute cold. Absolute. Beautiful pass by Clark, and Harrigan, he put pay to the opposition very quickly.
This was the result, firstly, of an ineffective tackle by Penrith. Clark was able to shrug off 3 defenders, then got a good pass back to Harrigan. Alexander missed him there. Lobb missed him on the second occasion, and Harrigan does the rest as he plants the ball down for the 4 points.
Oh, the Battlers are in front, eh? By 6-2. Mark Harrigan, good luck to him. What's his tackle count at the moment? It was high at half-time. Let's see this pass again from Big Clark. Harrigan has made 17 tackles at this point in the match. And there's the pass from Clark. Penrith should have had Clark parcelled up and almost posted by that time, but they let him out. And Harrigan picks up the try. He's a former country representative, Mark Harrigan. Here's Pearce with a attempted conversion. Most important one. He's missed it. West leading 6-2. No change to the national Panasonic score. Well, Graeme Hughes. These hungry Magpies might be hard to topple now.
Well, that's what I felt just before half-time, right? They're certainly playing with all the enthusiasm. There's only one thing that Penrith can do. Every guy's got to dress himself down and say, well, forget about leaving it to the likes of Izzard and Alexander and maybe Jeff Gerard. I'm going to go out there and do something myself. They're all going to start to get involved because they're all sitting back waiting for things to happen.
Harrigan playing the ball. Fella brought down right on the 22. Lee Beater. Pearce with the clearing kick. It's well placed too. This is Lobb. Wests are open for a little chip at the moment. MacArthur standing very deep. He'd be 50 metres behind his first line.
I think his positional play is way off beam, Ray. You've indicated how deep he is, and that's when you're not playing a second line of cover defence with your halfback back. You've just got to play flatter as fullback.
Here's Howell, the man I was telling you about. It almost worked for them. The first time they put him into the attack, he almost was able to bust them. And had he have got that ball away to Izzard, the equaliser was on. That was Howell in the 15. The ball to Izzard almost coming off. You'll see again Penrith working for Howell again very shortly, I would think. Now it's through and out to Warnocky, and this man is Cogger. Magpies with their tails in the air. And Harrigan has been receiving attention for some time. He's back now in the attack line, the try scorer. Riaz. Neil. Well, that's a late tackle on him for mine. It's a penalty to Penrith. Oh, I can't believe that. If Neil was tackled late in an earlier incident, then fair dinkum, this one, in my opinion, was much worse. Alexander finding the line. Penrith coming up with the penalty. Robinson. Oh, Trudge, it's knocked on the first tackle. That's unforgivable.
It's the sign of a team that feels that a game's starting to get away from them.
Well, I told you earlier that Gary Webster had left the field, and Graeme Hughes is now with the Western Suburbs, second rower, front rower.
Gary, you felt that calf muscle go?
Yes, it was just like a piece of string pulling, you know, and didn't do anything fast. It was just jogging along and it just went on me.
Side's going great, Guns.
Yeah, well, big thing tonight is that the defence is moving up together and they're playing with a lot more enthusiasm.
What about the error rate? That's well done.
Yeah, well, that was another reason why we've been on the end of some big defeats, is because of spilling the ball, you know, and not moving up in defence. But tonight seemed to be controlling the ball.
They can smell the big money.
yeah, it wouldn't go down too bad.
Thanks, Gary.
Right, thank you.
Clark plays it inside the Penrith 22, and Neil switches the point of the attack for Warnocky. He switches it again, and Wigham it is, who's tackled about 12 metres out. A neat piece of play. Now it's with Neil. He puts up the bomb. The runners are there. Underneath it is the lob. He's put it down, and Fowler dives on it, but it's no try. He's bringing it out to the 22 for a place kick restart, indicating that the breach was by the attacking side. National Panasonic replay of a moment in their first quarter-final for 1985. Here's Ivanovic running decoy for Fenton. And Warren Fenton almost through. Cogger making the tackle. He had to make it too. This is Simmons. 6 points to 2 in favour of Western Suburbs. And a penalty to Penrith against Fowler.
Well, as we've mentioned earlier, Brad Izzard hasn't seen a lot of the football in attack for Penrith, but I'm sure that he's the sort of player you'd be setting for in these situations to turn the game for you. He's an excellent ball receiver, a damaging runner 30 metres out from the line.
Well, that's what they're setting for right now as Trudgett goes across the ground and shows it. But you'll see here that Penrith will work this play about 3 times to the right, the same direction that they're going with their first play. They'll go for probably this one and another, and then they'll be fanned wide and deep across the park. Here they are now. Alexander, Trudgett, wide ball for Robinson. Now to Izzard. That's the player they were working for. But West were there and they woke up to it. Mullen makes the tackle.
The whole thing broke down because of one bad pass inside. It was a pass that caused the centre, the number 4, Steve Robinson, to have to stop and go back and take the ball, and it slowed the whole movement down.
Simmons, the captain, taking it inside the 22. Unlike some of his colleagues, I think Royce realises that there is a very, very big problem on their hands. The bomb from Alexander. Maybe this is the way to come up with the points, is to go over the top of them. But Wests have got the ball just out from their own line. That was the bomb coming on down into the possession of Western Suburbs. This is Lawson.
And there's that sloppy marker defence that you referred to early in the game, Ray, rearing its ugly head again for Penrith.
Ooh, that was a big hit there. Mullen was taken low by Simmons. They're not huge men, built close to the ground, but they hit very heavily. This is Craig Clark, back to Bruce Clark, the front rower. I recall in the first round match they had another Clark in the side called Brett. Tonight, not quite so bad. And now the front rower is calling for attention. It might be just a splash of oxygen required in the lungs of Bruce Clark at the moment. He's been working hard, and nobody can dispute that he made the try for Harrigan possible. 6-2 at this point in favour of Wests. Pearce just getting his kick in, and it's with Gonzalez now. Plenty of black and white jumpers there. Izzard away from dummy half he goes. Tackled by Fowler. Across the park comes Horton. Oh, he's gone through the big fellow, and it was Neil who interrupted him. But it's Horton who'll play the ball 18 metres out from the line. And that was a pretty sloppy piece of football by Penrith to let Horton run into a gap, and he was there on his pattern alone. Nobody with him. As it goes to Trudgett, a short ball for Gary Howell, and it's gone across back to Trudgett. Trudgett will play it. Tackle number 5. They might push the ball across the ground with the hands. It's with Alexander. Long ball from him. They've just got to pass and run. In for the corner goes Gonzalez, but he's failed to make it. Try-saving tackle over there by Harrigan. Harrigan made the tackle. So if West win this match tonight, put him down for a try and saving one. This is the little fellow that we're talking about with the arm heavily bandaged, Mark Harrigan. Oh, that's a great hit. That's a good rugby league tackle from Goodwin on Mullen. See it again, slow motion. Crunch, shoulder, arms driving with the legs. The kick ahead by Michael Neal, and it's off the boot of Houghton. It's into a dangerous situation, but Lobb has got it for Penrith. Lobb's gone back to the halfway line. Brought down by Leabeater and by Lawson. Very close to three-quarter time. This match still very much in the balance. Houghton again, and again he's allowed to take the play up on his own and nobody wanting to run in support. Twice in 2 minutes Houghton has been standing there, able to offload, but no runners. Tim Sheens must be very disappointed with those two plays involving his big winger, Chris Houghton. Neal tidied up. Getting close to the break. In fact, it's only seconds away. This is MacArthur. Warnocky. Cogger. Wigan. Back in for Cogger. He has to hurdle them, but he spills his lollies as he goes over the top of them. And that's the end of three quarters of football. Simmons having some heated words with the referee. I'm just looking at this little discussion between Simmons and the referee. As we pause for a commercial, the Magpies are leading Penrith by 6-2. Penrith, West leading 6-2. Our first quarter-final of the 1985 National Panasonic. Coming to you as the second part of a double-header. Brett Lobb is off. Mark Levy has taken the field for Penrith. The reason for this double-header tonight, just repeating, is through the fact that there'll be no cup football on the eve of Anzac Day, that being a full round of Sydney football tomorrow week. And there was a necessity to play this double-header to keep in pace with our finishing date this year, which is, of course, the first week in June. June 5, in fact, the date for the cup final. Goodwin up and at them, and that's the only way to go. A couple of them, and then they've got to push this ball across to their game breakers. Fellows like this and this. Izzard and Alexander. Here's Izzard. Staying alive on the inside is Alexander. There goes this young halfback. The ball infield, touched, picked up by Gary Howell, and Howell is in to score. Gary Howell comes up with the try. If there are three players in the Penrith side that I would answer a question such as who's likely to win this match for Penrith, I'd say Alexander, Izzard and Howell, and it just so happens